Hey everyone, you are watching Otaku Movie Anatomy. Remember, there is no spoon. We are adjusting your realities today as we watch the Animatrix. All right, guys, we're going to talk about that. Let's rock.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Otaku Movie Anatomy.
Yay!
Yeah, play that funky music.
Yes.
It's time for some Animatrix, everyone. Welcome to Otaku Movie Anatomy.
So 90s.
Look, it's all four of the original cast.
Oh my gosh,
We're
we're
like,
all
we
here.
just got back together.
for some reason.
No, this is a rare day in Otaku Movie Anatomy because you're right, we are all actually here. And of all the things to bring us together, it is the Animatrix, of all things.
The 90s.
Because it's the best.
Yeah, right?
Well, I guess it's 2000.
It changed my life.
1999 it came out.
It influenced
This,
every part
this
of me.
changed my life.
We are dating ourselves, so yes, it really is. It's life-changing. It's probably one of the best parts of the whole Matrix series in general.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the Matrix was so awesome that went downhill so fast.
so quickly.
man.
Yes, of course, I'm going to be one of your hosts. My name is Jonathan Messa. You could find me at Kaibacat on Twitter, Instagram, all those shenanigans, all those things. Of course, to my left.
I'm Max Song, and you can find me at Max Salt on the everything.
And I'm Human Ninja. You can find me everywhere on the internet at Human Ninja.
And I'm Michelle. Oh, God. Damn.
Who are you?
I do this about like every week. I am Chubby Bunny Michelle. You can find me everywhere on the internet at I am Chubby Bunny.
It's true, you're right. This is like the one
I
thing
don't
every
know.
week.
It's just like I'm quiet. If I'm not leading, I'm quiet for so long that I kind of forget what I'm supposed to do.
Where
So
am
she
I?
forgets
Where
her
is
name.
this?
All right, so we are talking Animatrix. I'm going to give you guys a little information on it before we jump right into everything. Right off the bat, Animatrix was, created by the Wachowski brothers. Yeah.
Hey, good for that.
They are the Wachowskis.
Yeah, now they're not brothers anymore.
They're
They're
sisters.
technically sisters.
They're the sisters now.
Wait, what?
What?
Both of
Do
them.
you not know this?
No, no,
Oh,
no.
that's
They
right.
both
They
had
had,
gender
Hold on.
reassignment
Hold on, wait a minute.
surgeries.
Pause everything. Fill us in. What?
So,
Okay, so-
Andy and Larry are now
Both women.
both women. So it's Lana and Andy is now a woman. I can't remember her name.
Both of them.
Both of
Yeah, they're
them
both of them.
recently just
It
came
recently the second one, but I believe it was like a couple years ago, like 5 or 6 years ago, where the first brother decided to become a sister, and then I guess now
out. Her
just
name is
recently-
Lana.
I don't remember.
Wow.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they made Cloud Atlas, and then there you go.
And then they did
that's
Sense8.
life. Yeah, and there you go.
Lily. I think we have
yes,
it there.
Lily.
Okay, thank
Lana
you.
and Lily
Lana and Lily.
Wachowski.
That's cool.
That's so
Yeah.
crazy. I had no idea, actually.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well,
It's
then
cool that they get to pick their sibling name, because it kind of matches. Because
they're Lana and Lily, yeah.
That's kind of neat.
So I will try to correct myself. The Wachowski sisters.
Just Wachowskis.
Yes, the Wachowskis. There you go.
Yeah.
They created the Animatrix. Now they were actually in Japan promoting the Matrix itself, the first movie, which is the only one you really need to watch.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Yes, and they're big anime fans, which is actually where the Matrix was inspired by. Although I heard they did steal the script from someone, but that's a different
Oh,
story.
shit.
Ooh,
Yeah,
drama.
That's a different
Rumors.
story, and it's rumors.
1999
rumors.
drama, bitches.
Yeah, we can look that
It's
up.
Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
And that's just the way the business goes.
Well, they're big anime fans, so they went and visited a bunch of different anime companies that they're big fans of, and they decided, hey, why don't we all get together and make something really cool, Matrixy anime? Here we are. It's the Animatrix. They wrote the first 4 stories of the Animatrix, which are arguably the best parts of it.
I
I
think
would have
so,
to say.
yeah.
Yes. And let's see, outside of that, a little information here. The Final Flight of the Osiris was premiered as part of a movie, sort of like one of those first little movie things, before the movie.
Like the Pixar thing.
Was
Yeah.
it for the second movie?
But like real sad.
It was. I have here Dreamcatcher for Dreamcatcher. Or something.
I don't think I
Oh,
watched that movie.
Dreamcatcher, is it the Stephen King movie?
Is that what it is?
Oh,
It might be,
that's
yeah.
a weird.
Okay.
That's
That was a
weird
weird
one.
movie, too.
So I guess they were just jumping on board with that, and so that's kind of how they did it. Then the 9-in-1, when they got all 9 stories together, that didn't come out till October 2008. However, in 2004, Adult Swim started putting out some of the films. Like let's see, Toonami in 2006, and that was Toonami Latin America, and it has an 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. The Animatrix.
Nice.
That's
Very
really
It's
nice.
because
high.
the ones
Real
that
good.
are strong are super strong.
Yeah, that's right.
And the ones that aren't strong are still
Are
pretty
super
good.
Yeah.
They're not bad.
They're not bad.
Yeah.
But for sure, like the strong ones really carry this. Let's see. This is all sort of set between Matrix Reloaded. So it's in between the first movie and the second movie. So Matrix to Matrix Reloaded. That's kind of where the Animatrix fits. Although some of the stories themselves, you know, like as you get later into like the 9 stories, they kind of just are their own.
Arbitrary.
Yeah, their own little thing. I even wrote this, and it's very important. This Animatrix, the Animatrix, was set before the movies went to shit. This was the last good thing of the Matrix before it all just crashed and burned.
I thought the twins were pretty cool.
No, they sucked.
You're
wrong.
Why? Two pale albino dudes with dreads. How is that not cool?
Jeez,
They even have ghost powers.
They were like,
and they had like they use like straight razors. That is like quintessential anime, and I can't say that is a crime in any way.
The best things about those last 2 movies: Monica Bellucci in latex.
Nice.
Wait,
yes,
Monica
you're right.
Bellucci?
That-
What's the name of it? What's the
That
actress?
should have been the first thing.
Yep, Monica Bellucci. That's her name.
Monica Bellucci. She was in Jesus, what was she in? That gun movie.
That gun movie.
Everyone-
Matrix?
she was in Google.
The Matrix,
She
the
was
gun
in
movie?
She was in the Matrix.
She was in Shoot 'em
Yeah,
Up.
she's married to Vincent Cassel.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, sweet. I'll take
So
that.
I'm the only person here out of the 4 of us who hasn't seen 2 or 3 of the Matrix. I only saw the first one, so I was very
you don't really
confused.
Save
See 2
yourself.
or
Don't ever
3.
watch them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I just felt like I think when they came out, I was very like, I'm into anime now, so I'm gonna stop watching mainstream everything for like 3 years.
I think, Michelle, I think you won this battle. I think this is a battle you really won because we wasted a few hours of our lives watching the second and third. But specifically, the third one was just god-awful.
No,
It was very
that
much,
second one.
It was very
Second
much
one
like
was bad,
Stockholm syndrome.
but,
It's like we definitely made excuses for the second movie. We're like, oh, the second movie was a little rough, but it's just gonna get better in the third movie. And then the third movie came
The third
out,
movie
and
was
we're
like,
just
he's
well, this is
Jesus.
dead.
You know what, Neil? He's Jesus.
Jesus,
He's
yeah.
Jesus. Like, not even in a subtle way. Like, literally looks like Jesus all the time.
The second movie for me is the moment it falls because it's literally every single problem that the Wachowskis have in their movies. Cloud Atlas, like Sense8, it's this overarching, like, we're gonna get super, like, heavy-handed and philosophical, and, like, that Kentucky Fried Chicken dude at the end, I was like, you lost me.
Damn.
That's right.
It was literally Colonel Sanders, the skinny.
Ergo,
Yeah.
vis-a-vis. Yes.
Yes.
He was pretty interesting. I feel like the whole thing about Wachowskis is like they make interesting characters. They just don't fill out those characters well. You know, because I looked at Kentucky Fried Chicken dude and I was like, I don't know what it's about. You know, maybe it's because you're in like this pure white room with all
with
these
a
TVs.
white. No, he's like wearing a white suit.
And
He's
when
got
the-
like a goatee.
Yeah.
He's totally skinny Colonel Sanders.
He totally looked like Colonel
He didn't really have like a
Sanders.
southern accent, so
No.
you just kind of just talk like a normal guy. And I was like, you need a southern accent, bro.
Yeah.
Like that would have sold it.
He
for
was
me.
like not Southern Donald Sutherland.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you know exactly right. Yeah.
And I'm not making this up. I'm not the first person to
You
say
are
it.
you are the systematic anomaly. Would you like some chicken?
I'm gonna have to Google this later.
So the Animatrix is
Yeah.
pretty darn cool. It's 9 different stories, and I mean, we could all probably agree as we go forward. The coolest part of the Animatrix, I mean, you got to watch all 9 stories.
Yep.
Because you get different styles, different stories, different things through all of it. But the second and third one are called, what's it called? The Second Renaissance, Part 1 and 2. And they are the most interesting, cool cinematic, but anime cinematic stories in the entire Animatrix.
Yes, they are.
And what they do is they tell the story of how we even got to the Matrix. And it's really amazing. It's sort of like the basis for what iRobot was and many, many other stories after that. And so what I really loved about it is the what's it called? Oh my God, saying this word is so hard for me. The Second Renaissance.
Renaissance.
The Renaissance fair
Renaissance.
that we dressed up for. It took all these amazing things from our history and then it put it into sort of the same history here, but like robots. So like people in the streets and images, you know, of standing in front of the tank, you know, as it's sort of like it's running
like
someone
Tiananmen
over.
Square.
Yeah, thank you very much. Exactly. And they did it all with robots. So they recreated our history with robots, sort of as us in a way. With
as
the,
us and as the minority. Yeah.
Yes, and we are the oppressors. And I want to take that moment and just that thought process and throw it over to Michelle right now because
I feel
you've
like
got
they're doing a
something.
lot of like very theater things, like, and I'm gonna throw it over to you. I'm like,
catch it.
I'm gonna figuratively and literally catch it.
Yeah, because it truly was. It was incredibly moving, incredibly powerful. The Second Renaissance.
If you get into Renaissance 1 and 2 and you don't feel something is like wrong with yourself,
You're
then you're
dead
not
inside.
you're dead inside. You're not
You're
reading
dead.
this
Your heart
right.
is black.
Yeah.
I mean,
No
the
covering.
original movies. I heard there were, when they cast the actors, the first the months before they started filming, they're like, you have to read these 3 philosophical books so that before we even give you the script, so you understand it, and they had to go to classes and stuff, and they to help them get there, so they could explain the Matrix properly to other people.
Right.
So when you get to the Renaissance, now I can't say it.
The second Renaissance.
First, when you see, basically, it's about how man created robots. The robots gained intelligence, and the robots decided they didn't want to die, which is where you get the problem. Don't make robots afraid of death. It's very scary. So there's this one robot that goes to trial. So one robot is there's an owner trying to terminate him.
This is really interesting. It's BI66ER, which spells bigger, right? Which is kind of fascinating.
Yeah. So what happens is this robot, who is named look like the word bigger in Leet speak, I guess.
Yes. This is the age of Leet.
Yeah. The early 2000s.
That's made it popular.
So he gets sent to trial for killing his master, and in the proceedings, they do this crazy parallel with that trial, as well with the Dred Scott versus Sanford case of 1856, is when an African American was put on trial, and they deduced that the Constitution wasn't talking about African Americans, their property, and they're allowed to be destroyed. So which is super upsetting. But when you get to this,
real dark.
So you show this in here with the robot, and the robot, he loses the case, he gets destroyed, and that's when the uprising happens. Now the reason he's named Bigger. It basically throws back to this novel called Native Son by Richard Wright. And I forgot that I read this. I have this habit of when I read something really upsetting, I kind of block it out. But I read this in school. Thanks, Oakland Catholic High School, class 2000. We read a lot of literature on slavery and oppression of African Americans in the early 1900s. Yeah, Catholic school.
Oh, wow.
And so it's referring to the character named Bigger Thomas. And in the novel, it explains that his situation in life is so oppressive that he has to resort to violence. The only way he can get over being oppressed is to just give in to the things that society expects him to do, like murdering this white woman, and then murdering his, raping and murdering his girlfriend. And it's this crazy, it's not it's an analogy of why this came to be, but why that was a choice he had to make. So it's pretty gross. But it's really interesting they made those choices. I mean, you said the Wachowski brothers wrote this. They probably wrote this before or as part of writing the first Matrix, because they have to make their world, believable.
Yeah,
so.
The history behind it, exactly. And I just love that they used, actual histories. I mean, that's something that we could all actually connect with. And I always love that you take us deep. And whenever we do it, you always count on Michelle to take us to this place. Historical and deep.
Yeah.
And there's so many points. What was it? I know,
Kind of a bummer.
Yes.
That's what happens when you read about human nature. It's terrible.
Who do we have in the chat listening to the deepness right now? Who do we have?
We got Fuster Cluck MD, Ocampo Fam, and then earlier we had was it Drake Vader?
Drake Vader? All right, wow.
What's up, guys?
What happened to him?
Thank you, guys. Just so you know, we
Allred.
are always monitoring chat. We love to hear you guys and hear your thoughts about everything we're talking about right now about the Animatrix. Right now, we're specifically talking about the second Renaissance Part 1 and 2. Outside of just, that incredible moment where he stands, and then obviously they're going to destroy him as well as every other kind of him. I guess every other
semi-sentient robot.
Yeah, yes. And so then this not even a war starts, genocide starts.
Yeah.
And the surviving robots end up building their own little island. But the robots, so they're advanced. They don't have to sleep. They don't have to eat. So they end up working harder and building an infrastructure and a community that's so efficient and strong that they take over the business of the world.
Which is crazy. That's an idea that you just wouldn't necessarily think about. Most of these robot stories, it's there are robots and they make robots and then the robots attack. Overwatch is a recent example. That's literally the same story. But kind of in this Renaissance era where it's the Opnics, which are robots basically that are sentient, want to live their own lives. But just the idea of these robots taking over the economy and humans, just because they're human nature. Technically, if you think about it, we didn't have to necessarily feed into the robots' economy because, that we're giving them more power, but the economy only runs through humans and trade,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So inevitably, we destroy ourselves
Yes.
by
Yes.
being like,
Yeah.
we cannot not buy these
Yeah.
things. Like,
Yes.
we cannot buy these
Because
conveniences.
like especially in the Second Renaissance, they just basically show you how much more efficient and like
Yeah.
just at what length they can go. And then, of course, humans like were like driven by actual biometric things. So it's
Yeah.
like okay, but like I think like the stuff that I noticed about the Second Renaissance is like you start with like Bigger, who's very humanoid looking. As they start to evolve, they become
English
less
cat.
and less and less
They
humanoid.
also lose their humanity, much like we did.
Because I mean, this is something that you
That's a
see in
very
a
good
lot of
point.
movies where, like Terminator is one of those, like where you see them still looking like a skeleton, like still looking human. But if you're a computer, why would you need to look like a human? You're not an efficient form. And I think that their research, like whatever the Wachowskis' failings or like greatness, they always are very good at finding those details. Like, why would they need to look human at that point? They don't need
Yes.
to.
You know, the thing is, though, is like in the beginning, and this is where I kind of don't know whether or not this is more of a convenient plot choice than it is not. Because, like, they see these machines that are willing to basically, like, kind of make peace with everybody.
Yes.
But instead, because otherwise, if they're like, yeah, it makes sense, they made all these crazy conveniences and were willing to like negotiate and be peaceful because they have no real reason to like overthrow humans. That is a human concept
Yes.
of power. And so to me, in a weird way, I understand that it's supposed to be dramatic, but it doesn't really make sense to me. I don't necessarily think that, if we were in our society now, sure, there's fear mongering and all that, and sure, Donald Trump is a real thing.
Yeah, right.
In a
Yeah,
weird-
that's actually real.
Yeah, it makes me question whether or not this is the way we would go about it. Would we go for peace, or would we just be so afraid that we were just like, no, you cannot be these things?
I think it's very like extreme because like I mean you're always gonna have people who are like, well, why would we like in your case where it's just like why would we attack these machines who have at their core no malice?
Yeah.
No, what they don't want to own the world because ultimately they need us to survive.
Right.
They need us to buy into their economy or whatever. But like, I think there is definitely a showcase of people who would do that.
And absolutely, I mean, you look at the Holocaust happened.
Yeah, it
Mass
happened.
genocides happened. It happened, in Russia with Stalin and Mussolini. I just actually, funny enough, that's so wild. My wife just sent me this. This thing, it was in China, and it was like 45 million people were murdered over the span of 38 to 1841, something like that. And it was just like it's like the greatest mass genocide in the history of our nation, history of the world. And that was their own people.
Yeah.
And so it's not like it's something that's foreign to our world, foreign to our history. So that's something that I felt like was really honest, and I felt like it could happen, especially because we viewed, at least the humans in this, and the Animatrix viewed them as weaker, as lower, as subservient.
As something that we've created so we
Yes.
can destroy.
Like, exactly. We made you. And so,
Yeah.
but now you didn't respect them becoming their own. I love the fact that the robots ultimately are stronger, smarter, faster, more efficient. But they, like you said, they kept a human form. They show up with a top hat and the apple
Yeah.
bearing peace. And I do love that. I love because they say in the Second Renaissance, this will not be the last time that they take the floor.
Yeah.
And the next time,
They-
it's demanding and they
Exploding.
look.
Yeah,
They
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 look
like
less
the
human.
crazy
Yes.
robots,
Yeah.
that you see in the Matrix, with the multiple eyes and the tentacles
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's kind of the perfect form. If you really think about it, it's totally practical. And if you've watched the movies, they tear shit up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like every inch of, especially the robots in the Matrix, every inch of their body is a weapon
Yeah.
at that point. And it's like,
Yeah.
that makes sense from a robot, like robotics. Like, why wouldn't you do that? It's very efficient.
It's also, I think this is one of the most interesting points too, especially in the lore of the Matrix, is that when you see everything in the real world, it's blackened by this chemical cloud basically that blocks out all sunlight. And the crazy thing is like they kind of explain it in the Matrix, like what we did that we had to try to like block out the sun, but then when you see it in the Animatrix, it's like crazy.
Oh,
like,
it's intense.
There's this huge war between when these machines weren't necessarily the efficient killing machines. It was still learning to be an efficient killing machine.
Yeah.
And so through battle, they like change into these monstrosities that are just like perfect at dismantling humans, basically.
Because
And you
ultimately,
see it
because
happen.
humanity
Yeah.
fights them, they are like ultimately humanity fighting a war with them teaches them how to defeat us.
Yeah.
It makes them make more defenses
Yeah.
so they don't get killed.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like self-preservation.
Yeah.
And it like at the end, it just kind of doubles back to like, hey, you guys totally messed us up. Like, but we didn't want anything. We just want to like exist and have a purpose.
Yeah.
And so we're going to create the Matrix for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that like to me just like makes the Matrix the movie so much deeper.
Yeah.
And so have so much like world building and lore and impact to me as like a whole like franchise than it was just 3 movies.
Yeah.
Regardless, there's still some semblance of love.
Yeah, because I mean, if you think about it, like
crazy.
even Agent Smith says it in that first movie, where he's like, "This is not our first Matrix.
Yeah.
The first Matrix we made was a utopia, and you rejected it. So we had to put struggle, because that's how you as humanity measures
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
It
that's
was
great.
like
That's
very
true.
deep. I remember watching this movie, and I was like, "Shit."
Yeah, but then we get to
Yeah.
the last episode on the Animatrix goes to humans having to make a fake Matrix for the robots that they turn
that's
good.
right,
So
the
because
matriculated.
the robots have now turned to something that are killing machines, and they've lost like their compassion.
Yeah.
So they're trying to reteach. It's like going full circle.
That's a
how it
great
ends.
point.
Yeah.
That's
Flux.
I never even. That's a great Aeon Flux. Yeah, exactly. I actually wrote that down.
It's funny because, like, in the sense of like both Second Renaissance and all of these films, it shows that like we as humanity create these people who then learn how to defend themselves because we're the aggressors, who then become the aggressors because by example we have led them to this conclusion.
And also at the end of the day, basically just human nature fucking human nature.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
you know what I
kind
mean?
of true.
garbage.
Yeah,
You know what we need? We need to build a wall.
Yeah.
That's what we need. To build a
We need to
wall.
alienate
Let's
all
build
the
a
people
wall.
we don't like
Yeah.
or trust.
Yeah.
Like that's clearly what we have to do.
Let's just break off in this other country and be your own country. Let's not worry about a currency.
Yeah.
Jeez, man. We're kind of covering. I mean, what you're talking about? Who's signing you on?
I
this is
think this AI versus humans, like we were talking about, is a consistent trope. I mean, it's in iRobot, it's in like even AI, it's in
Overwatch.
Terminator, Overwatch. You have all these things, and it's always AI versus human. It's always following this kind of streamline of humans create something, and then it gets sentience. And then we have to then decide whether it actually can live and think for itself, or do we still own it?
I feel like it's definitely like the human fear of like having this thing that can think better than us, that are physically stronger than us, that can, process all these things and have ideas that we might not possibly be able to even compute or have. And it's like basically the reason that the singularity is such a scary thing for a lot of people, or like rampant AI is. That's why it's always like a horror trope. You never see that really awesome movie about the friendly AI.
It is, it's true.
When it comes, you're right.
Yeah,
Never,
it's
it's
true.
like, oh, cool. Hey, robots are sentient. Everything's cool.
Yeah.
And AI, hey, let's go have coffee.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
it never comes out.
Yeah.
I would love that movie.
Even at its core, though, like if you really think about it, it's almost like in like robots aside, it's also like getting older versus being young. That like at the point of it, it's just like I am older, I am not used to these things, I can't adapt. This younger person is like faster, stronger, adapts, is creating more than me. I am now
it's-
obsolete.
it's-
It's
yeah,
at the end
exactly,
of it, that's what it is.
And basically in real life, that's
really good.
basically what robots
Yeah.
have done
Yeah,
to people.
pretty much. But robots just consistently do it better and forever versus humanity.
They don't age.
But that being said,
That was a great correlation.
whose side are you on?
Whose side are you on?
Whose side are you on?
Hey, I want to put this out to the chat also.
Yes.
We're about to ask the question to ourselves when it comes to the robots and the humans here. Whose side are you on? I don't know what you guys are saying right now. I mean,
They're asking questions that are not relevant to the discussion at all.
oh, okay. What,
Your
is
top
it-
5 anime movies. Guys, we just watched the series.
We're going to talk. Okay, maybe we'll have a second if we have a few minutes to do our top 5 anime movies of all time. You know what? How about this? You can go back and watch our highest rated films
Yeah.
on our channel right here. They should have a list of all of
and
our
iTunes.
past episodes.
Yeah.
There.
But so whose side are you on? I mean, this is the
Michelle?
question. We'll start
I
with
don't
you,
know.
Michelle.
Like it's when it's presented in like a fictional work like this, it's kind of like you're on both people's sides. Like the humans are painted in a poor light at the beginning of like the Renaissance, but then by the time you get to the Matrix, you're like, I hope humans win because that's like are controlled by robots. Like you have compassion for who has the most compassion in the film. I think in the whatever part of the storyline you're watching.
Pretty fair.
Bop.
Wow.
I think
Pretty fair. I love
Cop
it.
out.
Yeah, I think like every time I watch this trope play out, like I've seen it so many times. Like it's like on Star Trek Next Generation. Like every single time, I'm like robots. Like we
Yeah.
fucked it up, robots.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck us, robots.
You know, there's a part in the Renaissance where they kind of go back and there's like, you know,
wonder if you're gonna say what I was thinking.
thousand robot
Yeah,
march.
you are gonna say what I was
The
gonna
thousand
say.
robot march and
Yeah.
the robot sympathizers. I'm totally robot sympathizers.
I completely agree.
Also, robots
Me
are
too.
super
Yeah.
fucking cool.
Yeah.
They're just way more interesting than humans to me. So I'm like all for the robots.
Yeah.
I'm all for their independence. And also, it's just like, hey, we created this thing that's basically life now. You
Yeah.
know? It's a sentient, thinking being. Like, then we have to take responsibility for it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just, you know, all this roots to like, no one wants to take responsibility.
Yeah, it's like if you're gonna play God, you have to take the shit that comes with it. Like,
Yeah.
There's a dog. There's a dog in the
The
house.
dog also agrees.
Yes.
He's like, yeah.
I'm on the exact. I was actually going to bring up the same point. It was the human sympathizers in that part where they're shooting down the robots and the humans who were there supporting the robots. I actually am right there with it. Like I just any sort of oh gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? Of putting down of any sort of a group of people, oppression,
Yeah.
the oppression of a people, I'm not okay with. Like
Yeah.
I'm about love and acceptance and and understanding. I feel like we will find we'll find peace through understanding, even if I don't agree. Like I will find understanding. I could always say that's great. I don't see it that way, but dude, I will respect that and like move on with our lives with love and integrity. So
I have a
Yeah.
philosophical question, real quick.
Uh-oh.
And this is actually,
See, I just want to say, I love that we are going so deep
Yeah.
today. This is like, Michelle,
what
you
makes-
brought this on, and I love it. Well
That's why
done.
the Matrix is
Thank you,
awesome.
Matrix. Thank you.
It's meant to make you
And I
think.
want to know what you guys think out there. Right in.
Yes.
Whose side are you on, robots or humans? All right, Max, what do you got?
Okay,
Yeah.
so I kind of took this from Deus Ex, the game that just recently came out, because they actually have this thing called the mechanical apartheid, which is the people that have been spliced with machinery and people that haven't been spliced with machinery, kind of the same situation.
Okay.
But the question is, if you could destroy all the AI, like just all the AI, would you do it? Though, given that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be evil and they are now sentient. So that's the choice that you have to make.
So wait,
do you destroy the AI forever and not give them a chance, or do you help them out and give them a chance because you don't know what the potential they're going to bring because they are sentient now? So in a weird way, it's like this fine line of like you're killing something but not really.
Yeah. Fascinating. I'm gonna go with Let It Live.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Let It Live. Has anyone seen what was that? Gosh, that movie, the Lorax.
Yeah.
Yeah, Let It Grow. Let It Grow. The song at the end, Let It Grow. I'm gonna say Let It Grow. Yes, that's what
Yeah.
I say. Let it grow, let it evolve. And see what happens down the road. Granted, look, you may die and they may be killed by your creation, maybe a horrible decision in the end. But hey, man, you gotta try.
Yeah. Plus, I feel like once you've already done something, you can't really be like, oh shit, well, let me just destroy that.
Yeah.
It's just like that's not how it works, Especially when it's got sentience. It's like at this point that thing has its own like. What's the word I'm looking for? Like conscience or resolve.
Yeah,
like,
forcing your will upon
Yeah.
something
Like
like,
it just,
that.
I can't. I'm not down with it.
I'm not down with it.
Same.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
same-ish. I'll go
Look at us. We're
rehash.
Yeah.
Who would have guessed we're such a peaceful group of people?
I
Like,
know.
we're
Yeah.
all about love and peace. All right, well, let's talk about. Well, you know what? The Wachowski brothers created 4 of these, but they didn't go at this alone. I mean,
No,
obviously,
absolutely not.
even the 4 that they wrote. They didn't even create. They wrote them, but they even wrote some of them with help.
Yeah,
I mean,
but they didn't
got
direct or anything.
Yeah.
so they were-
Exactly. They got some of the best in the business to help them out. And so to talk about some of how these 9 stories were created and some of the places they went, I'm going to throw it over to Max right here because you've got some information here.
I would say, okay, so when you watch Animatrix, it's very clear that there's a very distinct style between
Yeah.
each and every one of them. And almost to a weird degree, if you have watched a lot of like old school anime or like 90s anime, you can actually tell what studio they come from.
That is
Yeah.
very, very
It's
true.
very,
if
very
you know
obvious.
this era of anime, absolutely.
Yes.
And they're still making shit. These studios still
Yeah.
exist.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
most of them.
Most of
No, Studio 4C still exists. Madhouse still exists.
Madhouse.
TNA does not
Yeah.
really, but I mean, Peter
Aeon,
Chung
yeah.
still
Yeah,
he
he's
does
still-
stuff.
he's not
sometimes.
dead.
That was the
That's what I'm saying.
Aeon
Yeah.
Flux style,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
unique, creepy, distorted. I love that stuff. Yeah.
But this is all very like
Forces
of
from
the
hell.
90s.
Yeah,
Yes.
Absolutely. Studio 4C did Kid Story, which was the one where he's like running around and like falls off the building. And they did Tenkun King Crit. They're doing the new Berserk series, and they did Steam Boy. And you can tell from the Tenkun King Crit because that is the kind of distinct, weird, kind of like floaty style that they had.
Didn't they also? I don't know if it was 4C, Studio 4C yet when they made it, but wasn't it? They did Cowboy Bebop and. Or at least the person directing, Shinichiro Watanabe.
Did
Cowboy and Samurai Champloo.
Oh man,
Yeah,
nice. That explains it because Champloo has like a weird like.
It's
kind of weird
rotoscoping.
style.
Yeah, that
it's
animation
rotoscoping.
style.
But he also did Kid Story and a Detective Story.
Oh yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so
Those
which
two
you can
do-
kind of
those
tell.
two do read together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the detective noir story, you can kind of see that it's like
Really
kind
like that
of
one.
Cowboy Bebop, like
Yes.
Yeah.
Samurai
Yes.
Champloo-esque. You can tell from their faces and kind of the way that their bodies are drawn.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, Madhouse is another one of them.
Yes.
And you can tell which one were
Yeah.
the Madhouse
Totally
ones
tell the
very
Madhouse one.
Who
easily.
has the longest faces?
Yeah.
Who's got the longest eyes with like biggest lashes?
It has the most sweat pouring out their body.
The most hair ever.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so skinny that I don't
Yeah.
know how they don't break apart when they jump.
Their
Yeah.
torsos are like
They're like
90% of their
super
body.
thin.
they're like in real life they'd be like 8 feet tall and
Yeah.
they'd be like this like willowy thing.
And
Madhouse. Awesome.
and then DNA, which is Peter Chung, Aeon Flux. They did the matriculated
Matriculated. Yeah.
matriculated one.
Matriculated.
So you could definitely tell that was Aeon Flux. Because
Yeah.
Aeon Flux.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so distinct. I don't
All
even
look
think I have
same.
to explain.
Yeah, and for
Yeah.
those of you watching who have never heard of Aeon Flux or seen Aeon Flux, go online,
Yeah.
look it
Yeah.
up.
It was
It's, like,
the
important.
MTV,
Yes.
one of MTV's like animated shows.
It was
From
part of
Liquid Television.
Liquid Television.
Exactly, Liquid Television.
And you'll remember from our Ninja Scroll episode, like Liquid Television is also what introduced Americans to Ninja Scroll because
yeah.
they spliced it into their trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so guys, I mean, Liquid Television, Aeon Flux has started a huge trend of anime. So it's good to know your anime history. Go look it up, Liquid Television, Aeon Flux.
And it was specifically like very grown up anime, not like, you know,
Yeah.
like childish,
It was
like
like
fart jokes
sexy and
anime.
like really
Yeah.
violent.
It's very gory and mature.
It's crazy to think that they used to show that on like MTV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
But it was late at
awesome.
night.
Yeah,
It was late at
It was
night.
like
After like
11.
11 o'clock, the rules are totally different for the NFC
Yeah.
stuff.
That was the first Adult Swim-esque /
Yeah.
Toonami
Yeah.
thing before that was a thing.
I'll be honest. I remember when I was a kid, I saw boob on regular television late at night. I saw
Yeah.
boobs.
It was like a
Yeah.
normal thing.
Yeah.
Like cartoon boobs are just the thing. They're like, it's cartoons. No
We
one
saw
cares anymore.
boobies.
Yeah.
What was
Just
the
so you guys
Elvira
know.
show on USA? There was like something up all night.
The Elvira show.
Yeah, what was
yeah,
it?
Dude,
I mean, you definitely saw her breasts.
she got some big old boobs. Yeah.
Yeah. They're in your
at
face.
Everyone's
You guys
funny
today
audience.
are
She looks
missing out.
great, by the way.
Yeah.
Still.
So you guys are missing out on some of the stuff we get to grow up with.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
We
great.
have to get away with that
Actually,
stuff.
Morgan Chen asks, "Is Aeon Flux an accessible anime for newcomers to the genre of anime?"
It's not really an anime. It's more of an American cartoon. Peter Chung is actually a Korean American director and animator.
It's from like Florida.
Yeah,
Yeah.
highly influenced
So-
though.
I feel like-
very much influenced by the anime
Oh,
style.
absolutely
And
it
got,
is.
yeah.
I feel like you can definitely find Aeon Flux online. A part of
have
me wants to say
Blu-rays.
like it was like on Blu-ray, and I
They
feel like
on
it was
Blu-ray.
on
Yeah.
Hulu at some point.
Yeah, I would say maybe it was. I think it is might still be on Hulu. I would
Yeah.
say check those out.
I would check
Maybe
Hulu because I
Netflix,
know
yeah.
Hulu has a lot of the MTV animated series. Like I think they had the Max. At
Yeah,
some
Oh,
point.
Max classic.
Yeah,
Wow.
so-
And I have to just say this, that anime isn't a genre, it's a medium with which to tell stories. And I feel like such a dick. Like, I'm always saying that, because people always say that shit about comics, too. Like, it's a comic stuff. I'm like, no, it's a way to tell a story. It's all different. So Aeon
Yeah.
Flux is like a really different, like, Aeon Flux is nothing like Sailor Moon.
No,
Yeah.
no.
It is adult, and it is
This is
gritty.
This
and
is
it's-
definitely
yeah.
before there was kind of this like merging of now like Avatar, where it's like half anime, half kind of like American cartoons.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's like these styles that kind of mix and match. Like Aeon Flux is very much American.
Yeah, and you're really going to get a great sense of the era of anime at that time because it Ninja Scroll and Akira and
Vampire to D, Bloodlust.
Exactly, and Aeon Flux really sort of like melded into that style and fit that bill.
Yeah.
That distorted, dark, anime style. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's great if
honestly,
you guys are into that shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what was the name of the person who was asking about that?
Morgan Chan.
Morgan
Morgan
Chan.
Chan.
I would say
Good
check it out.
question.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
great
worth checking
question.
out.
Thank you, Morgan.
Especially if you're
It's
enthusiasts of
relevant
like
question.
really weird styles
Yeah.
and kind of like surreal
Yeah.
animation, that's definitely
It's
a thing to go
artistic,
to.
yeah.
But speaking of Vampire Hunter D, Yoshiaki
Kawajiri.
Kawajiri,
Yeah.
he was one of the directors. He directed Program and World Record, which I think are one of the two best ones.
Yes,
That's the ones that were animated by Madhouse. And the World Record was actually directed by Takeshi Koike. Koike.
Yeah, Koike.
And he directed Redline, which
Yes.
if you've seen Redline,
Which Jonathan's in.
Yes, I'm in Redline. Go see Redline. It's fantastic.
His
We
voice is-
reviewed it, and it's so good.
It's just his face bobbing around.
if you watch Redline, you can definitely tell where the style is very much influenced from, because when he worked on the Animatrix, he had that style as well.
Yeah.
And then also, this is just for me. Mahiro Maeda is the director of Blue Sub 6 and Final Fantasy Unlimited and now Evangelion 3.1. And he's one of the ones that directed the Renaissance 1 and 2.
Oh, nice.
Blue Sub 6 is literally one of my most favorite anime, like hands down in the world. And it's beautiful, and the character designs were done by Rangi Murata, and it is definitely something to watch. And then Andrew R. Jones, he's like probably one of the only American directors here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He did Flight.
But he did Flight of the Osiris. But what he also did was he worked on Final Fantasy Spirits Within.
Oh, yeah.
Which would make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
That
makes
makes-
a lot of
yeah.
sense.
That beginning
Yeah.
sequence is, when I was watching the first one, I was like, God, it's so American. Because it was like, you
Yeah.
know, Asian girl getting her kimono cut off and like doing like samurai battle in her underwear. I'm like, ugh. And then like
Yeah.
as soon as it switches over to the real world, I was like, okay, let's watch the story now because that
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
I love the first one, Flight of the Final Flight of the Osiris, just because the way it ties into
Yeah.
going into the second Matrix movie.
Once that
Yeah.
part was over, it
That
was
was
really
really
good.
great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it totally was like fan servicey.
That's the first thing, but like that, they use
very
that for the
off-putting.
promotions for Animatrix like
Yeah.
over and over and
Because
over.
People
and
were really
over
into that
again.
shit in
Yeah.
They
like,
really
99.
loved 3D. Like 3D animation was
Yeah.
like the thing that blowed people's minds.
And Spirits Within did not blow my mind.
it did not. But everyone was like, "Oh,
I
that's
was
really
so
cool
excited
looking."
about it that my
know.
friends like went to theater
Yeah.
together.
And then, if you think about it, it was like Final Fantasy, and all of us like, oh shit! And you went to go watch it, and you're like, nothing
not
Final
Final Fantasy
Fantasy.
about
I
this.
was like
I
upset.
mean, there's a little bit of it. I don't know. I'm not
No.
gonna try and defend it.
But
One day
Final-
we'll watch
but-
this movie.
But Final Flight was totally cool, and it really tied the first movie into the second movie and how we got there. And,
Yeah.
and I will
Yeah.
say, there is one point that I think I did write down too. It was her fall when Joy is falling through that like maze of like pipework,
Yeah.
and she does like some of the craziest contortions as she falling. I loved it.
And then she
it was totally
flips-
superfluous, but it was awesome.
And then she flips in midair as she's
Falling,
like free
yeah.
falling, and then like somehow rolls through perfectly
She
fine.
gets like
Yeah.
traction on the
Yeah.
air. It's, I
Yeah.
mean, it's the Matrix, so you just like kind of do whatever you
I'm
want.
like,
Yeah.
whatever.
So apparently, when she puts the letter in that mailbox, that's the beginning of the Enter the Matrix game.
Yes,
I've never
it
played.
is.
Yeah.
Actually, a very good game.
Oh,
You
okay.
play as
I
Ghost.
remember playing, that.
You play as Ghost and Naomi. I
Oh,
believe it-
Naomi plays
Yeah.
Naomi.
Okay. So, but you mainly play as Ghost, and I always thought that was awesome because Ghost is super cool.
Which is funny, but like one of the other ones also ties into the later Matrix, the one with the kid who wakes
Kid's
up.
Story.
Kid's
Yes,
Story.
Kid Story ties in.
Yeah, because I was
That's not-
explaining to Michelle because
I
she had
was
never
like-
seen it. And I was like, you know, he comes up in the movie and he's like super excited and he's like, "Let me help you, Neo. Let me be your like lapdog, Neo." And I was like, "That's the kid from the Kid
That's
Story."
good. Yep. Yes, that is another
Yeah.
tie-in. That's really
Yeah.
cool. I noticed that as well. I always block it out because that kid who they cast was terrible.
Annoying.
He was
He was so
awful.
annoying.
Also, he
In
was
the actual movie.
He
In
was
the-
basically gun fodder. He was born
Oh, yeah.
right
He
from
was.
the beginning.
Like,
You saw
I'm
me,
so
you're like,
innocent. I'm gonna
yeah.
You're the worst.
It was very like, remember me from the Animatrix?
No, I don't.
Maybe tie in. Sure don't.
Oh,
Boy,
man.
they ruined that character because he's so much cooler in the
In the
Animatrix.
Animatrix.
Yeah.
Oh, they
You know
just
what show I
ruined
really
it.
like that we haven't talked about yet is Beyond. It's the one with the girl and her looking for her cat.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt
Yes.
this real
Yeah.
quick because just so you know, the girl looking for a cat Beyond, it's Michelle. In the I literally, it started
It's
and
Michelle.
I was like watching it again. I was
Shut
like, it's Michelle.
Why is
like,
it me? Am I looking for cats constantly? I don't
Well,
have any
no,
cats.
she has her
You mean
hair.
hair?
Her
So
hair.
Three cats. Yumi has 3 cats.
Yeah, but
That's
like
true.
the hair, it's like it's angular.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
the character, the colors and the character designs of that one is literally the one that I love the most.
It's
like,
so good.
True. The
The
animation
animation's
style
so
is very
good.
good
It's
too.
so smooth.
So good.
And it's really cute. It's and you know the plot is kind of like doesn't matter.
doesn't matter,
It doesn't
yeah.
go anywhere. It's just very pretty, and they play a lot with like splicing balancing in, just playing with gravity and like how characters move throughout. It almost looked like an art project. Like some animation class was like, show a character moving, free falling, and like do everything you can that's artistic. And they're like, okay, we made this.
I think that was also Studio 4C, which is why it kind of also looks like Tenkan.
Yeah, I heard, I guess Koji Morimoto was an animator who worked on the film, was an animator in Akira, and also Kiki's Delivery Service, City Hunter, Fist of the North Star.
It's the funniest thing. I did feel like a little Studio Ghibli in that, so that's so interesting.
It's like it's very whimsy. There's a little
it's like a whimsical little girl. That's what it is.
It's more like that one was the one that's more of like a glitch of like, hey, here's a little thing that happens in the real world to normal people, as opposed to
there's
being
no
like, all the agents trying to attack you all the time.
Glitch in the Matrix.
And when it ends, you're like, huh? What? Oh, okay. Oh, it's just fun. Okay, I get it. It was just nice.
All fun its
The
own.
voice acting was really great in all of this stuff, I think. I was really, as somebody who, sorry, John, doesn't really like dubs a lot, it was directed really, really well. I think I wrote down, but I erased it, the woman who directed all the voice acting, she did a fantastic job. Apparently, this was back in the early 2000s, so there weren't like that many cool, like famous voice actors, so she was pulling from video game actors. I remember, I think it was like the whole cast of Final Fantasy X like did stuff, but like good. They did
Nothing
good.
in the Animatrix from a voice acting standpoint like jumped out at me. That was like, this is bad. Everything felt
everything was
really
very
great,
it didn't feel like to me like, oh, this was in Japanese first, which is what the first thing I feel in anime when I see it.
Yeah, but I also think that that's because they directed this basically for like an American audience, so they were able to actually like sync it together. So in a weird way, it's kind of like is one of the first like American Japanese hybrid animes that has existed.
Dun, dun, dun.
Vampire Hunter D was made for English.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Vampire
We gotta
Hunter
get to
D.
that movie on the show.
Yeah, we will. It's like one of my favorites.
awesome.
Sunless.
Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust was made for English, and then they dubbed it into Japanese. I've seen both. English one's better.
Have we not done this?
We have not done it yet.
That's
It is
absurd.
on my slate.
That is
I have had it
Okay.
slated forever.
Wow.
This is going to happen soon. We're going to figure this one
Very,
out.
very
Not
soon.
next week though, but
next week.
One thing I do want to ask is, as we're getting closer to the end here, is favorite out of the 9. What was your favorite out of the 9? And I want to
hard
put this out there
question,
to all of you guys watching right
On the
now.
internet.
Oh, how many we got watching?
Yeah.
I know, right? Whoever's watching right
Just
now, I
like
wanna,
10 people looking.
Yeah. Oh, go sweet. Of
And
the
then more once
Animatrix.
we finish.
12 people.
Yeah, of the Animatrix, we want to know what your favorite story was. Of the 9 stories, what's your favorite one? I guess Second Renaissance, you got to pick part 1 or 2. You got to pick one. Yeah, so I think I know
hard,
mine.
dude.
I know, so you got to pick. So we want to hear it. Write into us right now, and we will say it, and we want to talk about it. What's your favorite of the 9? I have mine already, so I can say mine
Yeah,
first.
so yours.
Mine is Second Renaissance Part 2. I love Part 2 because of the conclusion of the story, the gore, the visualizations of it.
The
way
robot, the skeleton robot on a horse with a view.
that was-
I was like, holy shit! I was
The
like,
man,
it was
the
amazing.
man
The
that
apocalypse,
burns within the wheel
Yeah.
of humans, like
Jesus.
basically us burning our own like human timeline.
Yeah.
Visually,
Beautiful.
it was stunning.
So good.
It was dark and intense. I was just, it's one of those that the whole time I feel uncomfortable and kind of cringy.
Yeah.
Like, it really got to like my core, and I really love that one. So, I mean, granted, there's some really solid, amazing stories in this,
So many solid ones.
but that's
Yeah.
the one that just made me feel so uncomfortable that I kind of like stopped for a second afterwards and go, I need a deep breath.
Yeah,
So
I
love
like
that.
had to take a pause.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe pour myself a shot.
I already talked about mine. I really like Beyond because it was
right.
just.
Well, because
was
you're
just
in it.
nice.
So
Because I'm in it. 'Cause I'm in it. But I mean, I
start.
love Renaissance 1 and 2. Like, it really got me thinking. It's one of those things you watch and you're like, you have to like sit and think about your fucking life after it. Like, am I evil inherently, or is humankind doomed to this? But it's good.
I think like I'm one of those people that split. Like I am so biased to Madhouse style. I love the look of Madhouse, but the Second Renaissance, that storyline, so good.
Yeah,
that writing,
good.
it was just so. And to this
Yeah.
day, like it still holds up.
Yeah.
It really does. That whole story, like Renaissance 1 and 2, if you just made like your own little short about it, and you're like, damn, that is
Yeah.
the thing. However, just because we've already discussed it, the one that visually stands out a little bit more, I think, besides the iconography, it would have to be Program,
Yeah.
which is
The
basically
Madhouse one.
The Madhouse
Yeah.
one. Just some of the compositions,
Yeah.
the locations are amazing. The way that they like push the perspective, because it's like the Matrix, and that's something that happens
Yeah.
in the Matrix all the time.
Yeah.
It was very indicative of like, just what the Matrix is as kind of this like environment and what you can create it to be. Also, the designs are just super amazing, and also
Yeah.
giant
Beautiful.
weeaboo, and I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the color and everything's so
the
deep and
colors, the
rich.
contrast,
Oh,
like
yeah.
even the
Yeah.
way that they shoot everything, it's so specific to Madhouse, like the way they pull in and like come out of
Yeah.
it, everything.
Yeah.
Just like
was
the
really
sweat, the
beautiful,
hair,
yeah.
the way it moves, it's so beautifully
When they
animated.
fight in that,
Yeah.
when they fight in the house, and you see all the screen
the
doors,
screens,
Yeah.
like,
and they start
was
opening,
really
and
good.
it pushes the perspective out, so
Yeah.
it just looks like infinity doorways. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's
It's so
quintessential
beautiful.
Matrix.
Art,
Yep.
bitch.
Yeah, it's
That's,
really good.
wait, you know what?
That's
That's the quote. I want to
getting
hashtag that.
tattooed on my
Hashtag
chest.
that's art, bitch.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
We have one response to
do we
what's your
got?
favorite story. Fresh Ingredient says they like detective story.
Oh,
Text
Fresh
version
Ingredient.
also very good.
It's also very good.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I love the style and like the
The
world that it
noir.
created.
Yeah.
It was noir, but it was like supposed to be set in the 90s because Trinity's there, so that's a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, right.
But at the same time, it was like the cool kind of like weird typewriter steampunk
You know
Oh,
technology
what?
right.
that
He's
they
like
had.
on a
It was pretty
computer,
good.
but it's a typewriter. Like
Yeah.
that was fascinating.
It kind of made me think that like was that guy's own personal Matrix, like his looks different because like he wanted something different, or I mean I guess everyone lives in the same Matrix, right? There's,
Right,
like,
no,
a bunch
it
of
is the
little
same
ones.
Yeah,
Matrix.
it's the same
Okay.
Matrix.
But
In
it
my
was-
head, I was like,
I
maybe
think
there's
that's
a
more
different
of
one
just
where
a
he lives.
stylistic thing, you
Yeah.
know?
But it was totally unique, and it was
Yeah.
only to that character. We never saw anything like that in the Matrix, any Matrix,
Neat.
anything. It was
when it started, I was
just
like, "Ooh,
that.
what's this? This is
Yeah.
cool."
Yeah. That noir style. It was
Yeah.
really
I do
cool.
like
liked-
that they
I really
played on
did
that
too.
like 90s like hacker thing because
Yeah.
it was such
Yeah.
a big deal in the 90s, like elite speak and hacking. I was like, I used to be so into that.
So many hacking.
That's how
you
moves.
hack,
And
you just go,
Now everyone just
Hack is
hacks.
like
We're
my favorite.
cool.
Yeah,
Crash
just
and
hacks.
burn.
Now everyone just hacks Pokemon Go. Now Pokemon Go is getting hacked all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Who was it that
Poor
said
guy.
that? Who was it?
It was Fresh Ingredient.
Thank you, Fresh
Yeah,
Ingredient.
thanks, Fresh Ingredient.
Fresh
You
Ingredient.
are
Nice.
fresh indeed.
Yes, indeed. If no one else is on this, I'm gonna jump to our next part. Okay, then we're gonna talk. We've got two more things to talk about before we end this thing. First is favorite moments of the Matrix. Any moment that you just want to talk about? Any moment that caught you want to talk about real quick?
Favorite moment. I mean,
I feel
I feel like we've already discussed it.
Yeah.
all.
really
that's
have,
basically
Yeah,
it.
we kind of have.
Just rewind 5 minutes. You'll listen.
I do want to bring up I thought it was really cool in Matriculated when the robot falls in love with the human.
yeah.
Like he's like in love with her.
Yeah.
and that was really
Yeah.
fascinating.
And she's like,
And then
fuck
she's
this
like,
shit.
I'm gonna
No.
just like commit digital suicide from. That's what
Yeah,
I got from it.
did she die from being surprised? Like what? Because she was kind
No,
of alive.
I think she just kind of
She-
like decided to dissipate into the ether.
I
of
think she was
Matrix.
dying,
Yeah.
and then was kind of in shock, and finally her body gave out at that point because her mind.
Maybe that's what it was.
was
I
sad.
just translated it as
He
kind of like
turned
a
good.
yeah,
Good.
like
He
she
turned
just got
green.
lost in her own program. Like they created this kind of like matrix for computers, and then she just got lost in it.
Yeah, that was sad.
Wham, wham.
Yeah.
That was a good note to end on, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know, right? All right.
Matrix
yeah.
is rough, Desu.
All right, we are rating this bad boy.
Yes.
We want to hear your ratings as
Wait,
well.
did we take out this rating system? Did we?
Did we do it? Did we do
Did
something
we?
different?
Well, John has been on the show
I
for a
haven't
while.
been on
He
the
hasn't
show
been
in
on
like
for a
weeks.
while.
What's
Yeah.
what's
We
the-
took it out
what are we
because
doing?
it's
I
hard
think
to
we have
do.
like a thumbs up system now.
Wait,
It's
thumbs
like
up?
Like,
Thumbs up,
we bring it
thumbs
back.
down.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, I
and
like
it's
that.
not-
That's
yeah,
very
thumbs
visual.
up.
Yeah, we were just.
Okay.
It's at a
like
12 o'clock
down.
position. I mean,
Okay,
it's not
so
gonna-
this is like kind of like the.
Nothing was terrible. Nothing was
Yeah,
bad.
nothing
at
was
all.
terrible.
Okay, okay.
It was all super great.
So this is it. We can do it all at the count of three then, right?
Yeah.
We got us on the main screen right here.
Yes.
We go.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
There we go. There we
That's
go.
4 thumbs
I know.
up.
That's 4 thumbs up.
gotta watch
Hey.
it.
Highest
Hey, that's
Yeah.
kind of fun. I like that. Let's keep that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, you
It's
guys
very
are doing this for
fuck
weeks.
numbers.
It's very like Coliseum.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
right.
Oh, right, that's right. Okay, so thumbs up, everyone. You should watch the Animatrix.
Yeah.
Whether you're a Matrix fan or not, it's great anime. It's
Yeah.
really cool stories. You are getting like a history and style of so many different anime companies and so many different
Yeah.
great artists and directors and writers.
So many styles. I mean, this is basically worth your money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's worth it.
Yeah, totally awesome. Animatrix is fantastic. I think that's kind of it. Unless you guys have anything
Yeah.
else out there. I mean, we're about to do our wrap up, so this is our last chance right here. Anyone? Anyone?
No,
They all
no.
did.
You're done, son. Everyone.
Yeah.
My name is Jonathan Mesa. You could find me at Kaiba Cat on all the social media things. Pass it to my left.
I'm Max Song. You can find me at Max Salt at literally the everythings.
And I'm Yuma Ninja. You can find me everywhere online at Yuma Ninja. And I should mention, next week we
Oh,
are
that's
doing Kenshin, the live action movie.
The first one.
The
First
first
one.
one. It is getting a limited US release. Thank you, Funimation. And it will
Yes.
be in limited screens from August 8th through 10th. So we will be covering it next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Let's
I'm-
do
Right,
it.
son. Thanks, Funimation.
And I'm Chubby Bunny Michelle. I remember my name this time. You can find me everywhere on the internet at I am Chubby Bunny, and also I write for geek.com now. So look at that stuff.
Yes. Suckaduckas.
Later.
All right, everyone, thanks so much for having us. We'll see you next time.
See you next week.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.